Pauline Maccay, back again.
Hi.
I mean, last time we were at Kapwa,
Yeah,
and we were
Couple
talking.
Gardens.
Yeah, we are talking at the stall, and well, not the bathroom stall, but the maker's stall or
Yeah.
the vendor stall.
Mhm.
And we had some really deep conversations about art, and about like where you all of your sort of like art energy and some of your past and like it was such like an amazing story. So but today we want to talk about today. Today we'll talk about what's happening now,
The present.
the
Yes.
present, right? um and you were telling me kind of like how homebody you've been, for like a
Yeah.
while. There was a dear loved one who passed, which is a
Melody,
Melody.
the my pug.
Yeah. And believe me, I know that. I know those
Yeah.
feels because, it still feels like Benji was just like around not that long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a month and it feels like it's been so long.
Hmm.
It's like that presence. It's weird cuz Mel was my muse, my art like a creative muse.
Yeah.
Um and also my emotional anchor, so it just like I kind of had to like think about things and reset my mind on like where to go from there, especially when it comes to creativity. um because yeah, like it was weird because I was like kind of like lacking motivation too, but then like my business was started off as something creative, but then it became like a job, so it kind of at one point like took away a creativity. So when I was thinking about like maybe I should do something different, but I just didn't know what to do. Like I felt like my mind was just so blank at
Yeah.
that time. And then one day I was like, so I started doing a lot more like physical activities.
Hmm.
Like I would hike a lot.
Hmm.
And one day on my hike, I found this dead bumblebee, but it was just like perfectly preserved that I like got one of like my Jeter joint bottles and put the bee in there and put it in the freezer.
What?
And so, well, before I started, like, so I had this idea, because prior to that, I bought this book about taxidermy, and I was just like, I wanted to do taxidermy, and then it just kind of like fell into my lap, where like I found this dead bee, and and so I got this idea for a fun hobby that I would make like dioramas of like dead bugs that I found.
That's
That sounds
kind of
weird, but
dope.
like, yeah.
No, man, that's like, Wednesday Adam vibes.
Yeah.
I actually really love that medium because I've experienced not in doing it myself,
Yeah.
but there is an art house, like a warehouse that holds like just a bunch of like production stuff and like,
Mm-hmm.
it's called Osiel Design and it's in San Jose. It's like right next to Black and Tan or
Oh.
ta- brown. The consignment store?
The
You know what I'm talking-
content.
Black
Which
and Brown?
I don't know if I've been there.
There's like a dope consignment store
Okay.
in San Jose. It's off San Pablo. Anyways, but yeah, I used to do, collaborations there every once in a while. They have like makeup artists, hairdressers,
Mm-hmm.
dancers, singers, all they just gathered together, such like a really talented group of people to do like, like high level productions. And we would get together and they would just have this really vibey place. And a lot of the time they would have artists that would do either like taxidermy type stuff or just like recreating scenes from like pre-existing things, like reused stuff.
Yeah.
And like just it's just you could tell that it's like encapsulated in some kind of like resin
Yeah.
or something like that
Mm-hmm.
that keeps it preserved. And so like that is in itself, the medium is so visceral to me. And it's like already the fact that it's used to be a living thing and you're using like real things is
Yeah.
already elicits like emotion off the bat. So it's kind of like an electric medium.
Right. It's like something I've always really admired taxidermy. Because like that's also the reason why I wanted to go in the museum field in the first place.
Ooh.
So it's kind of I'm tapping back into something that I haven't like really thought about for a while, and it just like I don't know. I feel like it when I was going on that hike, I just had that thought like, what if I start like trying to do it again? And then I was looking at these other artists, and they made so many like cool things. I know the learning curve is going to be like the actual preservation,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want to give it a shot, just maybe one, and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. That's so dope. And
So
you
like
said,
you can create like crazy scenes with like I don't know, I feel like I could use like all these I don't know, it just opened up a lot of ideas in my head that I have not like tapped into in a long time,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like it just excited me, so yeah,
That's
I'm gonna
so
follow it.
cool. And now my brain's going crazy, right?
Yeah.
This medium is so dope. Like now I'm thinking like you do like in my brain I was like, "Oh, picturing you taking like a picture of the diorama and then like editing the picture to look like it's a collage
Mhm.
and then you like move each thing,
Oh,
you know what I
okay,
mean, as part
yeah.
of an animation of the
Yeah.
collage of the taxidermy thing." Right. I don't know if that's too meta and it sounds really work intensive, but like
No, the two things that I really wanted to get into but never had the chance was the taxidermy and also claymation,
oh yeah.
because I was like I didn't feel like I was patient enough for claymation, but you know what, that would be cool to like create a movie. I feel like it would be really tough though, but to
Oh
create a
man.
movie with like taxidermied animals.
Oh my god, that would be
Or like I feel like
crazy.
start small with bugs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Literally small.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually had like a topic planned, and that was I wanted to ask you about like your symbolism the symbolism and associations in your mind.
Mhm.
So, for example, really easy ones like red, hot, passionate, blue, cool, laid back, right? Those
Mhm.
kinds of associations.
Yeah.
But if we go further, there are bigger symbols in our lives, right?
Mhm.
So like, things that we imagine as love is completely different from one another, right? There's different definitions of that.
Yeah.
And like different ways that we accept love and give love and blah 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 blah. And running through the entire gamut of emotions, hatred, sorrow, and this. Um, when I do it in my medium,
Yeah.
I sometimes will do this thing where I have something called a loop station where I can just like record something and it'll loop for me, and then I can put another and another and another on top, and they're all
Mhm.
just real time.
Yeah.
So I will ask the audience to be like, okay, name three emotions, and then I'll take three, and then I'll play what I think is like they say anger. So I'll play what I think sounds like anger.
Oh, okay.
Then I'll take the next one. Oh, you said anxiety. Okay, and then I'll layer anxiety on top of this, so you can hear both at the same time. And the third, a lot of times they'll say love, so I put love on there, and so you could hear all three layered up, and then you can kind of like layer them differently, make one louder, one softer, take one out, put it back, and it's really impactful for if you do it in the order that they say,
Wow.
or if love's at the end,
Yeah.
where it's like just it sounds like a mess,
Mhm.
but then when you take it all away and you realize the love was always there, it's kind of cool to hear it that
Wow,
way.
that's crazy to like see that in that kind of format, like
Yeah.
a musical format,
Mm-hmm.
because we can see that in different ways.
Right?
Yeah.
And not just with your eyes, with your ears, and like then you're kind of just forced to feel instead of compute that way that you're always used to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because like recently, like we were talking about me losing Melody, and she was like my emotional anchor.
Mm-hmm.
um I learned what I learned about myself is that I tend to communicate ways and like by imagery and a lot
Mhm.
of like sculptural things. I
Mhm.
can communicate my feelings through that form. But when I lost like that creative, I don't know, that spark for a little bit, like I just couldn't. I didn't know how to express my feelings because I didn't know how
Mhm.
to use it with words. Like I wasn't good at that, and
Oh.
so that's why I just like became kind of like a shell for a little bit, because I was
Mhm.
just trying to think about like, okay, so now that like how am I gonna express my feelings now that this is like, I don't know, I had to do like a reset kind
Yeah.
of thing, and so I'm kind of learning ways to communicate my emotions with words now, but it's just
Mhm.
weird. It's like because I've never done that before, but I just never realized that I was just that type of person who would communicate my emotions through like the physical form.
Yeah. I really hear that because I am like most dudes. I'm a very physical first type of person.
Mhm.
And so for me, like for example, in my relationship with Jen, I don't know if because she's kind of the same. She is more of a just do instead of like let me sit down and explain this to you type of
Yeah.
person because she's like a action person,
Yeah.
right? So for me though, it's like I will try to communicate to her through touch and through like pretty much everything I do.
Mhm.
So because I grew up playing the violin and you're like you high expectations of perfection and whatnot,
Yeah.
then you really try to be very specific with what you're doing and like
Mhm.
everything you're doing means something. Like
Yeah.
every tiny little thing you do, right? You
Yeah.
every tiny little piece of it means something. So like the way how hard I hold her hand, the way I move my finger or like the tone I use in my voice
Mhm.
expresses to her how I feel and what I mean and all these things. But I I I noticed that very few people are like that, where it's just like all the things you do really amount to something and mean a specific thing.
Yeah, because some people don't even like see certain. They won't even see if they're not looking or they don't communicate that same way. They wouldn't even see it.
Right.
So it's just so interesting.
It's kind of a gift and a curse too, because then
Yeah.
when you're like thinking on those small detail levels, you
Mhm.
get that from other people, and if they're not even thinking about it, it's like you're reading into everything too much.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
totally understand. That's why people like people are friends with certain people because like they see each other in a certain way,
Right.
or like some people can just really feel seen by other
Yeah.
certain people.
Yeah. So speaking of seeing though,
Yeah.
right? I see you, right? And
Yeah.
and one of so going back to the symbolism thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you about is that when we I think the easiest way to look at somebody's symbolism is to see their like items of power. Right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you've got like the things that you wear on the
Yeah.
daily, the things
Mhm.
that you've chosen for the day. I know like it's obvious that you are very deliberate with your aesthetic because this is your field, right? So why
Yeah.
wouldn't you be, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about like some of that, or I mean like it could be as simple as like, oh well, I just felt this way, right? But why did you pick that? Because you felt that way, right? Let's talk
Yeah.
about your outfit.
Okay, my outfit. I wore this outfit because it's just color. I feel like it's a representation of myself
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that like I kind of I'm a reserved person when I meet people, but then like my outfit shows my personality, and so that's how I guess I appear. That's I wore this hat and because I love vibrant colors. 'Cause I
Yeah.
feel like I am a vibrant person, but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't really know that about me because when they first meet me, I'm just like very quiet and shy.
Yeah.
But that's why I use my physical appearance and I don't know, I'm attracted to like all these funky items.
Yeah.
um and I guess the more people would know me, they would understand. Um but yeah.
Like, let me go even further. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is that the colors, the different patterns, just like basically like not ordinary stuff,
Mhm.
right? Things that kind of like speak. Let's go deeper then,
Yeah.
right? I'll be your artistic like
Guide my brain.
guide. Yeah, your artistic Sherpa
Yeah.
in this way, right? Well,
Yeah.
let's guide us on the way back. So
All right.
so then why green checkered?
Green checkered.
What does that feel to you?
It reminds me of Arizona tea,
Ooh.
and it's like that. It reminds me of like excitement and childhood at the same time.
Yes.
Because like
Okay.
I every day after school I would eat hot Cheetos and drink Arizona iced tea.
Yo, so it's not just like, oh, I think it looks cool. It's actually a little bit of feeling of nostalgia,
Yeah.
a little bit of feeling of like not a heavy topic. You know what I mean? Like light,
Mhm.
a little more
It's
lightness.
lightweight. Yeah, lightness. It's because when you're in that stage of your life, you don't really worry about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. So things like that.
Yeah.
So like I know that we don't need to go like all the way so nitty gritty about just things that we're doing on the daily.
Yeah.
But what it does get deeper when you enter your field, when you're doing your art and stuff like that. I'm
And
sure.
you know what? It's crazy because I didn't even now that we're talking about it, I didn't even think about that when I was putting together my outfit. Like why I was attracted to it and the reason why I bought it in the first place. Like I wore these, like my accessories too. I guess I'm attracted to a lot of like miniature things, and a lot of that reminds me of like childhood and things that like I guess my state of mind. And when you're a kid, you don't worry about anything, and also like you're just free to create whatever you want.
Yeah. And I find that when, especially as an artist, when you move towards what your freedom is,
Yeah.
you're best because you're unstifled,
Mhm.
right? So to what I hear from you is that you try to pull upon like the happy memories or the happy feelings of being free as a child or something like that, right? Those types of feelings of like throwing your cares to the wind and not really having to be burdened by like the crushing weight of responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really speaks though, right? Because you appear to me as a carefree person, right? Even if you're not saying words or whatever,
Yeah.
it you're always like chill on your face. You're always like chill, just like body language, whatever. And it comes out that way to me. Like you're never really like stressed about stuff in front of me. Yeah. But yeah, things like that, right? So like, what do you like about big round hoops?
What I like about big round, I just my thing about like accessories and clothing is just like statement. I
Yeah.
think like it's just something that you can't ignore. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like it's just there.
Yeah.
Just like the hat too. Like a lot of people, I get so many compliments on this hat, because it excites
It's a
people.
dope
It's
hat.
just like
Yeah.
you can't ignore it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I guess it depends on like what accessories you wear. You could wear something that like it's just plain and you don't
Mhm.
have to talk about it. But for my accessories, it's just like you can't ignore it. Like I
Mhm.
just, and with my work and earrings, I like big pieces because you just, yeah, I feel like you just can't ignore it. It's there.
I love that
Yeah.
too. Like where you just know somebody's gonna be looking at it. Like
Yeah.
that's the feeling you get. You just know it's gonna draw attention,
Mm-hmm.
which is like so opposite from your, like you said, it speaks for you,
Yeah.
right? So you don't really
Absolutely.
have
So I
to
don't
be
have
like,
to,
hey, what's up? You
because I'm
just like
not a,
walk around.
yeah, I'm not a verbal person.
Ah.
And so I do a lot of things, which is again I'm realizing this as I'm saying it, like, oh, I guess I am that kind of person.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's such a great insight though, where I might want to take that into my own life actually.
Yeah.
Because I think that we kind of weight our personality in a way
Mhm.
where it's like, oh, well, I'm a very outgoing person. Well, I'm not a very outgoing. Oh, I'm creative. I'm not very creative. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of times I put the heavy lifting on me talking,
Mhm.
and I don't think that I'm as good at talking as requires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That. So maybe instead I should let other things speak for me instead of trying to always be like such such a smart, witty talker or something like as if I were, right? Like
It's
that's my
crazy because that's
ideal.
not what I think I am, but then I am in that way because I do it in different ways. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And like I think that the thing that's really smart and witty about you is just the perspective that you have. You know what I mean? Like you're the way you think about, the way you're open to a lot of like ideas and things like that. So cool. Yeah. I also associations, right? So
Mhm.
we talked about colors, we talked about like things and shapes and just sort of like what it kind of means to you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like what you associate with freedom, which is like the thing, right?
Yeah. What do like? For example.
Okay, let me give you an example. What makes me, I guess it could be a lot of different perspectives, right? So,
Yeah.
um, in my life, I have felt trapped before,
Yeah.
right? In many different ways.
Mhm.
And to break free from those things, for me, the easiest, like, the quickest gratification is physical, right? I want
Yeah.
to, like, hit something or break something or throw
Yeah.
something or just, like, you know what I mean? Or just, like run or, like, just exert energy.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel, then afterwards it's a big release
Mhm.
of tension. Like you said, you started to do more like physical things
Yeah.
and it changed your state,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And so it's undeniable.
Yeah. For me, it's like a whole combination.
Mm-hmm.
But like a true freedom for me is the freedom to like just create and feel like I love what I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I was talking about earlier, like that because of my business became kind of like, or my creative process became kind of like a business. It's like, oh, how do I get out of that work like creative mindset? And it's like how because I'm making the same things over and over again so people could buy them, and then I'm just like, but how do I create new things? Like, how do I have time to create new things?
Mm-hmm.
And but then I felt stuck, and now that I'm kind of like prioritizing self-care, I was able to kind of see like what was blocking me from doing those things, and I can make the time to create something new. I just have to do it. Yeah, like, and it's funny because it wasn't until I feel like that bee just like made everything like it was weird. Like I don't know. I hold so much symbolism in that bee that's in my freezer, and I'm ready to like start a different like aspect of creating, but it doesn't have to because that's how my business started in the first place. I was just doing it for myself for fun.
Yeah.
And I forgot how to do that when that became my business. So now I just want to create for fun again.
Yeah. That's kind of like the big artist conundrum, I
Yeah.
feel like. Where it's like I start to do my work and then something within the process takes me out of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that a feeling of complete freedom is very necessary, like to spark the creation to begin with.
Right? Yeah.
Or like whatever, you just can't be like stifled in your mind.
Yeah.
Right? Or your heart or your spirit, right? You can't be stifled. So because you can always tell that there's something blocking. It's not a full realization, right? So I mean, I honestly really understand what you're saying. That process is hard when it turns into work. Then there's stress on it. There's more boundaries. There's more rules and stuff like that, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? The boundaries and the rules can help you to create even more. Right?
Yeah, because I was creating my own limitations, to be honest. And
that's what I'm saying.
You just have to kind of get out of that mindset and figure out how to get out. Figuring out how to get out of the mindset can be like pretty tough too. But when you like break out of it, it's just like then your business or the things that I'm doing now becomes enjoyable again.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Mr. Zarlo, Jen, Amp, yo, what's up, guys? Just wanted to say hi. Feel free to ask us any questions you like. We're just out here like chilling.
Yeah, chilling and talking about deep
art
deep
and
things.
deep stuff. Yeah,
deep art, deep art.
Yup. The deep web of art that is our lives, right?
Yeah.
You were saying like but all the symbolisms and associations that we make are very, very powerful in our lives because we tend to kind of like stick to those things.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see. Oh, Carlos says, Pauline, would you make custom pieces?
Absolutely, I would make custom pieces.
Why not? Yeah, right. I find that when other people are asking for stuff, it could be something you never thought of.
Yeah, I've done a few custom pieces for people too, and I'm always down to do it.
Okay. Are you still going under Handmade by Maccay or
Handmade by P. Maccay? Yes.
Handmade by P. Maccay. My bad.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jen says, Amp says, hey cousin, and then just
Hey,
hey, I would love for you to just make pieces you feel would fit and inspire you at the shop. I don't even have to pick. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
absolutely. That's one of the things that I wanted to go to is customize it to people's personalities too. I wanted to try that out.
Dope. Okay. I might have to ask you for something then. Yeah.
Because I feel like before there's also like a thing where I didn't have the courage to do it, but I feel like now I'm just like, yeah, I want to do everything. I want to try like different things. Again, like I was limiting myself, but now I'm just like, I want to try different things again.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? Okay, so that makes me curious. How do you feel like you were limiting yourself?
It's like the negative thoughts.
Like, oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, or like will that sustain me kind of thing, you know?
Ah, okay. See, that's the hardest part too, is because like our civilization, like the way we are socially, is not always the way we actually want to be.
Yeah.
Like specifically, like what we feel like the mass appeal is, or what we feel like the status quo is.
Mhm.
That is very limiting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, like literally like your sexuality, your gender, like your whatever, like any like things you like, the music you like, people are always out there to judge you. You
Yeah.
know? But that's all based off of their own life. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like it's people mirror it onto you, some of the things that they think about their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a truly timeless piece of art can stand up to that sort of scrutiny, that sort of like mirroring
Yeah.
till the end
That's
of
what
time.
I'm attracted to, like things that don't have like can stand the test of time, like
Mhm.
creatively too,
Mhm.
and different pieces.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do for myself too. Is I don't want to make things just because they're cool. I just want it to be like more personal to me.
Right.
And then people just happen to like buy it too. But then I also want to make people. That's why that I love that idea of because I make it personal to myself. So I want to make things that are personal to other people to
Yeah.
customize it. And yes, I would make that joint holder.
Okay. Yeah. See, look at that. Mr. Zarlo
I
also
want to
needs
try
to inquire.
some different like experiments with a joint holder to see if we can even like because I feel like porcelain would be like the best medium for it.
Ooh, but you dropped that once, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's in the wind now.
Yeah.
I think what would be really dope for Mr. Zarlo. Okay, here's a little backstory. Okay, he's got a signature rolling technique where he puts a little piece of like rotini as the filter,
Okay.
right?
Nice.
So a pasta themed joint holder
What?
would be sick for him, right?
Yeah.
Because like that, I know him for that. It's like, well, I mean, obviously in other things, right? But yeah, smoking culture. He's always gotten that rotini. That's his thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right? I don't know what it would be, but that would be a different piece, like a larger life size piece of pasta.
Piece of pasta.
that
Yeah.
could hold a joint.
Yeah. What kind of pasta would that be?
Let's see.
Let's like it can't
Campanelli.
be it can't be gnocchi.
It can't be gnocchi because that's just literally like a little turd. Like a big campanelli. You know what I'm talking about? It looks like a seashell.
Oh yeah.
Those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe you could just like stick it in a one.
Yeah. That sounds fun. I want to
Right?
try different things.
Yo,
Rigatoni.
Rigatoni. Let's go.
Duh.
Duh. All right. Nah, that's dope. Yeah. I mean, well,
That'd
okay,
be
so
great. Actually, it'd be like I could totally make a ceramic piece of a rigatoni. Like it could just be
Ooh.
like you just put all the wheat in there. It could be like a one hitter maybe kind of thing.
that's a good idea, a one hitter, or you could do like a tortellini.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Oh, well, that one doesn't have an end. Anyways, okay, I have a question for you. Another symbolism question is like, if I were to ask you to make me like a piece that goes on a necklace, what symbol would you see? What do you think would be good for me? Your really quick, not it doesn't have to be a deep thought. Like, what do you think will be good for me as a symbol?
Something in the cat family.
Yo, how
It could
come-
be any cat, you know. I don't know.
Why do you choose cat?
I
That's so interesting.
when
I
I
thought I was a dog person.
because when I see you like physically the way you dress, I feel like I always see you wear like a lot of like cat things.
Like cat themed things?
Like patterns, like tiger patterns.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, the tiger stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then like yeah, like I feel like it would be definitely some pattern, like animal pattern.
Ah, sick.
Yeah.
That's so dope. Okay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
this is just based on like what you wear.
Yeah, what I wear.
Yeah.
How about like how I am?
How you are, let's see.
I know we don't really hang out that much, but
I don't know. It's like for me, I have to think. I can't just like spit it out.
yeah,
because,
I get
like,
that.
I have to like think about that.
I appreciate that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
you would put thought into it.
pretty quickly it would be, yeah, something like a tiger or something animal. But then if I really wanted to make something customizable to you for like as a person, like more in
Mhm.
depth, I feel like I'd want to like have a conversation.
Yeah, right? Talk about like that. What would you ask me then?
Let's see, like what kind of colors you're into.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I really like I really well, Jen and I have both really liked yellow this year and last year. I really like these greens, these muted green or these rich greens actually.
Yeah.
I really love gold. That's like my favorite probably of them all. Like I like black and gold, white and gold. Gold just gold accents are like a love.
Yeah, so I would make like a piece that is like transparent and like with greens and gold.
Mm.
And I haven't thought of a shape yet, but definitely like I'm starting with like a color now, like of what I
That's
can make
dope.
for you.
What about a faux jade thing?
I would definitely do that with, because I've made like jade inspired pieces already, but since you want like gold, I can also put like gold accents.
So I've
Yeah.
actually been looking for a jade piece, just like culture wise, and for
Yeah.
my own stees and for like stuff like that. I'm gonna ask you about that. I
Yeah.
will.
Let's
That
talk
sounds
about
good already.
it.
Thank you. Free consultation. But yeah, so I'm really like excited to see what it is that's gonna come out of the bumblebee that you found and the
Yeah.
taxidermy stuff.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's just something that yeah, I don't know what direction it's going to go, but I just definitely want to try making a little diorama.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you've been to like Paxton Gate in
Mm.
Mission,
Mm-mm.
but they have all these like different taxidermies, and like there's like a mice taxidermy that's like having tea with another mice.
Who is it? I think App was talking about Dinner with Schmucks. Have you seen it?
I don't in a long time. I have not seen that since I was like really a lot younger.
Do you remember what I'm talking about though? It's it's what's his name? Steve Carell from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
And he does taxidermy with mice.
Oh yeah.
He dresses them
yeah.
up. He puts them into different
I remember
situations,
that.
and he makes little dioramas.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like that. I mean, like, yeah, it's his vibe. Obviously, it's that person's vibe.
Yeah.
But like, it reminded me of that too, and Anne brought it up earlier. The taxidermy
Yeah, this
stuff.
is just like something I want to do for myself for fun.
Mhm.
It's just like I don't have to think of that thing is like sort of my creative project that has like nobody's gonna be judging it, or like I'm not gonna be selling it, or I'm not gonna be putting it in a gallery.
Yeah.
It's just like something I just want to do for fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also am really into. We were talking about like claymation and stuff. Like stop motion animation is
I've always wanted to do
sick.
that. That's my dream. It just like takes like I don't know, the last stop motion I watched was a Pinocchio on Netflix, and that one took them like 7 years or probably more than 7 years, and they did it and they had a team in every different country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even though they had multiple teams, it still
Yeah,
took
it's-
7 years
Yeah,
of like
I
hard
feel like
work.
it took even more than 7 years. But claymation just takes so long.
So long.
All the stop motions that I've watched on Netflix, they took like years and years to make.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's ones that I've been watching where they have like Street Fighter figurines
Mhm.
doing like combos and like fighting each other and stuff like that. Those ones must take like a whole day just to do.
Yeah,
like,
stop
one
motion is
30-second
just
thing.
Yeah, it's just, you need patience for that.
Have you seen Kubo and the two strings?
Yeah.
That's the one I always think of when I think of stop animation.
I wonder how long that one took. Yeah.
Probably years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to put like all these different facial expressions, and then take a photo, and then you have to
Mhm.
like make the facial expressions.
Mhm.
And like I think I went to Tim Burton's, like when it was in Disneyland, he had like the one of his movies and like the different faces of. I think I saw that for Coraline too, and how many different how many different parts that goes into just making that movie. Like there's
Yeah.
just a ton. And what if you lose like you know, one of the facial expressions while you're filming? It's just like that would suck.
Like an eye falls off
Yeah.
and you step on it like ah.
Yeah, like how am I gonna make her smile?
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coraline was crazy. That
That
vibe is
movie
so
was
dope.
like deeper than, like, yeah, it was scarier than I thought it was. Like
yeah.
I didn't realize how many some of the I don't know if it's supposed to be a children's movie, but just some of the different children's movie that you would think and you rewatch it as an adult and it's like, whoa, I didn't realize that had all these messages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I actually went to so at San Jose State, I caught a symposium, I guess you could call it, or whatever, a lecture by Neil Gaiman. You know, the guy who did the comic book The Sandman. They
Oh,
turned
yeah.
into a show
Yeah.
eventually. And all his stuff was kind of like a dark theme, but it's all based off of like mythology, like urban myths and stuff like that, local legends, and it was based off of other people's perspectives. So if you are like African in Africa, and he comes to you, right? Dream, the Sandman, he will look like he's part of your culture. He'll be adorned in African like garb and stuff like that. Or like if you're, British or whatever, then he would be, I don't know, wearing a bowler hat or something, you know what I mean? In way back then. And what he basically talked about how like the symbolism he used was like really scary for adults, but then he would be writing like almost like childlike fables. And so children who read it would be like not really that scared.
Yeah.
But the adults would be scared because they would read between the lines, and they would be like, "Oh my God, this is really creepy."
Yeah.
Like, but the kid would just be like, "Oh, that's funny," or "That's
See,
cool."
that's like the thing about it too, because when you're an adult, you have all these other like things that you've learned through your life, and you're just like putting that all into.
I know.
What you're like, the perspective has changed, and
Right?
it's so crazy.
So maybe like, yeah, maybe then we gotta be careful. It's like, am I putting my trauma on this spaghetti?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right? Am I eating this spaghetti in anger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Trauma rigatoni.
Yeah. That's actually kind of dope. Trauma rigatoni. Yeah. Amp says she would need a manicotti size to get high. Yeah, I feel that. Yep.
The big.
We just ordered 2 ounces of flour.
Nice.
And Jen calculated. She was like, "We'll probably finish this in a month." I'm like, "Oh, you're so right. Actually, you're right. We need a lot of cannabis is like a lifestyle."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. Yeah. So do you smoke every day?
I've been doing a cleanse, but
Oh, that's right.
yes, but I'm going to be smoking later. So
Dope. Are you indica or sativa or a hybrid?
hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yeah. Actually depends on like what my mood is, but yeah, mostly hybrid. I like hybrids.
Mostly hybrid.
Yeah.
I like to have a choice too.
Yeah.
Like, I like to pick like many different versions and many different flavors and many different. So same way.
Yeah.
Right. So I can just be like, I'm feeling like this, and then go through my like weed Rolodex, and then grab that thing. Do you have any questions for me? Actually,
Let's see. Yeah. You know how earlier you told me about like the freedom to create, like what for you, like what is that?
What creates my freedom, huh?
Yeah. Is that
So like, you know what so if I have a task in front of me, or if I just decided like, oh, I want to make something today, right? Or I just feel like creating something, I really have to let it marinate. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can come across something if it's the right time and it hits me just right, and it's just like, oh, my brain hooked on that thing, right? But for the most part, I have to sit and feel and just imagine for a while and mix thoughts together. You know what I mean? I have to sit around and just be like, I really have to let myself physically be relaxed. I have to be like I have to be relaxed across the board. And then I just let my mind start flooding with things. And then eventually, just because the way my mind is, because I have like ADD or whatever, it'll just hook on something. And then I'll take it for a little while.
Yeah.
Right? And then I just imagine it in my mind. Okay, not and then
Yeah.
So it's almost as if you're sitting there reading 30 seconds in the future or something like that, or an hour into the future. and you're just sitting there like choosing your path. What am I going to do with this? What? And then I start to ask myself, was this even mean to me? And then I start going through all my symbolism. I'm like, oh, this could mean this. Oh, that's right. I feel that. Okay. And then it just begins to grow upon itself. So my freedom is actually more like allowing the space for something else to grow.
Okay, yeah. So giving a space for growth.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's very easy to give a very limited space based on what you're thinking about, how you're thinking
Yeah,
about.
absolutely.
Like what you were saying about like, oh, well, it turned now I had to think this way about my art because of work, because now it sustains me,
Yeah,
right? And I now have to think about practicalities.
exactly.
So if let's say I'm too worried about my finances, then I might put the restriction like this needs to make money,
Yeah,
and then like a million ideas fall out, right? Are no longer usable for me,
yeah,
right? In my box, right? That's the restriction I put because I'm not allowing it to grow.
yeah. I feel like a lot of the times too, for me, like the best the artists that I'm attracted to, and also the most famous ones, they just like were in that mindset where they did take away their limitations, and I try to do that for myself too, because
Yeah.
it's hard. But I feel like if you do take away your limitations and you just like create and just have fully be in that mindset, I think you could make something like really impactful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? And it's like this too. Like I feel like if I didn't have to pay for anything,
Yeah.
if I just
That's
had
the
time,
creed.
that's the thing, right? If I had as much time as I wanted
Yeah.
and I had no restriction and I didn't have to worry about staying alive and stuff, and
Yeah.
keeping people happy or whatever, right? Like just I could do anything.
Exactly.
I would be successful at every idea that I started, because then I would just work on it
Yeah.
and take my time, and just it would be good no matter what, because I would always be feeling it.
Mhm.
So then the question is, how do
can
we
you do
bring
that?
ourselves
Yeah, how do you
to
do
that with all this stuff around?
Exactly.
And I think the ones that are most successful, let's say, quote unquote, or at least recognized or whatever, they got themselves out there because that's what they want, are those who have kind of found that
and are committed to it.
and are very committed
Yeah,
and have
right.
that time and this and that.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, it's also kind of like it's also kind of a culture that to be a successful artist you already have to be rich,
Yeah.
right?
Because they have like the time to and the resources.
The time, the resources, they
But
don't have to work, like.
it's most of the time though it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're humans, right?
Yeah.
And like adversity brings power to us,
Mhm.
right? And I think like standing up to all the walls and the things that all of our entrapments that we give ourselves,
Mhm.
like you were saying earlier before we went live, you were kind of saying sort of this. You like broke free of all that stuff. You like made your own path to freedom through like changing your physical state, changing like letting go a little bit about like the male thing,
Mhm.
and sort of just like allowing yourself to just like be, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of created your own path to freedom.
And that's why I'm just gonna go and work on that B and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once I do that too, I can go back to my own creative process with my business and make other cool things that
Yeah.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing is like I have to bring the joy back into what I
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I mean, like, congratulations for bringing the joy back. That's like it's so deep, honestly.
Yeah.
Bringing the joy back to the practice. Let's go. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it is
right?
what it's about.
It's hard to forget, or it's easy
It's
to
easy
forget.
to forget and lose track, for real. Like
Mhm.
and it's like you don't want to deal with it, and then until like something happens and you're like, oh shit, I have to deal with it.
You have to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the answers come from. That's so dope. Yeah. Personal growth, right?
Yeah.
Humans getting like, we're almost like, I don't know. Did you ever watch Dragon Ball?
A little bit. I
Okay,
did,
so like you know about it. Basically, like in Dragon Ball, all the main characters, like when they fight, they get stronger.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cool symbolism of like, oh, when you get knocked down, if you get back up, you'll be stronger.
Yeah.
But that's how we really are. Like, I didn't really think about that when I was growing up. I was just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna give up, and that's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's like the resilience, because like there's gonna be a lot of shit is gonna come your way all the time, and
Mhm.
it's like basically how you move forward after that is what like where your path goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited to see where your path goes. It's gonna be very colorful,
Yeah, I
very
hope so.
carefree.
I want to make it very colorful.
Yeah.
And
Yo.
and something you can't ignore.
Yeah. I mean, you really inspired me today, because I always felt that I was lacking in like conversation, basically. You know what I mean?
I feel that way because I can't verbally communicate as well as I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm always like, oh, I'm not a good sociable person. Like I'm bad at making like new friends or something like that, because I'm just like always in my head about like the conversation, even starting a conversation.
Me too.
Yeah.
I feel that. I really do. But it's because I think it's because that one perspective that I have on that is because you want to like come at it with your vibe.
Yeah.
But that's something that takes time and is not just a frivolous thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then oftentimes conversation is just in the moment, throw it away, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think I asked you about this before. The main question on our first like podcast episode was like, if you could live your life like your art, remember?
Yeah.
So like it's kind of tapping into that idea where like as sometimes you get into this place as an artist where you're like, I want everything to be like my heart's steez. I want everything to be like beautiful the way I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so difficult to live your life 100% like that. Do you
Yeah.
feel like you're like that? Do you know anybody who's actually like that?
No.
Like
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, like, obviously there's the whole human part. But I feel like people like who? Deshaun Wesley maybe lives that way. Maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe Beyonce
Yeah.
lives that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. It's like they have this undeniable power about them.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know who Angela Bassett is?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like she lives her truth.
I think. Oh, I have first Rihanna.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
For sure, Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
And if not her personally, then she's the spokesperson for that.
Yeah.
So, living, I guess that's, for me, right now, that's my thing.
Yeah, because I feel like for me, I hit those moments in different points in my life, and then I forget, and then I come back. And then when I come back to it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I forgot, like, who I was for a second.
Yeah,
like, you
right?
know what I mean? It's crazy.
I guess, like, Confucius would be like, good job. You know what I mean? You learn it and then forget it, in type of deal.
Yeah, because we always have, like, outside factors going on that kind of make us forget about ourselves, and then we find a way again.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like the cycle of life.
Back and forth, right?
Yeah.
But I personally, I feel like I'm like often stuck in the cycle of just thinking about it a lot, thinking about like what I'm doing and da-da-da.
I do that too. Like, think about things before. Like, I want to be a person that's like more action now. That's my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not easy because of what I said. It's like I want to be a certain way, right?
Yeah.
To the point where I want to be perceived in a certain way. And I think maybe that's where I'm going wrong, and there's too much, like, you can't control that. But I get it. That's what stifles me a bit, is me. It's like, I want to do this, but I'm not there yet. And then all the other things start flooding in.
Yeah. But you just have to, like, take that step too. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah.
Like, I could think about it all the time, but then I just have to do it.
Yeah. Just do it. I agree. Yeah. Don't be afraid of, like, sucking.
Yeah, that was too. I'm also, like, afraid of, like, failure.
Yeah.
just like producing, especially, like, now that I have a business and I've made some successful things happen for me. It's just like, oh, how do I, like, top that, or how do I outdo myself?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Right? And nobody can pressure you more than yourself.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah. So for those of you who have successfully just been, like, crushing it time after time and getting better and powering up every single time, you got momentum, and I'm with you. That's dope.
Yeah.
On the other side, for those of you who have friction in your life, like that friction, I would say like try to embrace it, because that's what's gonna take you to that place where you have momentum.
Yes, and those are all like part of it too. Like we all need that, all of those parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. I feel like we talked about a lot of really cool and deep things today too.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to connect with you again.
I know I don't always get to have deep conversations either. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity to do that, and on live stream, so I can watch it over again if I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly, right? And like this, I think this conversation was good for me in many ways.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Last thing. Do you want to shout out any other things that you might be doing? You want to shout out?
Oh yeah. On March 4th, I'll be at the San Francisco Public Library. They have like this event full of creatives, and then they gave me an opportunity to have a booth there, so I'll be there. And then March 11, I'll be at San Francisco for the Filipino Film Fest, and then Couple Gardens on March 18th for the Sorry Sorry Market. Yeah.
Yo, let's go. Okay, like a pretty eventful month.
Yeah.
So
I took a break this month, so I'm excited to do it again.
Yeah. And for any of you guys who don't know, actually, it's just so commonplace. Pauline also is part of the steez of the shop. So if you come into our shop, you'll see, circles and sort of arch shapes and pillars and kind of like a combination of these colors that kind of like make up the core vibe of our shops if you take away the lights. And that's all Pauline, which is dope, she literally was like using a projector to project a circle onto the wall and then trace it, and then we will paint it. Yeah, it was cool.
That was a fun process.
Right, all this stuff, like everything, that's you, and it's a huge part of our shop. So I appreciate that.
I had a great time. Thank you.
All right, guys. Let's see. Is anybody available to raid? Let's see who's on. If y'all have any suggestions, I'm always down to find like new people to raid so that I could follow them and raid them in the future. Let's see. Oh, we got Gma. I just love puzzles. She's dope. It's always a good vibe. Rise Radio. Let's see. And then these are all the Funk Hunters. Yeah. Jasmine Marie Plans is up there. Let's see what she's doing. Let's see. Oh, let me just check back to see if you guys actually had any suggestions. Zarlo said he would want a Zeus pin of him smoking. Oh, so Zeus is his dog.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think he's a Frenchie. So Zeus is, a little Frenchie or, something like that.
Hell yeah.
No, he'll tell me. Zeus, a pin of that dog smoking. a rotini.
Actually,
pin.
I wanted to start making animals too for fun, like little animal sculptures. So
Nice.
maybe I could try doing people's dogs.
Dude, have you been to Monterey? Like
Monterey Bay?
Yeah, no, just Monterey in general, like the town. Like, have you been to their little?
Oh, like the Carmel area where it's like
Yeah.
all dog friendly.
Not Carmel, but like specifically Monterey. I've been to, and there's like one candy shop or some shop where they had a lot of like mini things.
Oh, I'm not.
So they had like a bin full of mini ducks, a bin full of mini dogs, a bin full of like mini cows, or pigs or whatever. So
is that it's a toy store or a candy store?
I think it's a candy, one or the other.
That's
But
awesome.
like I went in there and I was like, what is this?
I want to look that
cool.
up. I want to put that on my to go.
Yeah.
Places to go.
I think you'd like it because you like that mini stuff.
I do. Miniature, like tiny things and overly like large things.
Oh,
I like
that's
the
dope.
two extremes.
Yeah, that's dope. Like in
Yeah.
Berkeley, they have the bull. Have you gone to see the bull?
No, I haven't.
It's like a chrome bull, I believe. Is that Berkeley or is that might be New York actually?
Oh yeah, that's New York.
That's
I did
New
see
York.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
it. I
Yeah,
did see it.
Yeah, the one in
last year.
Berkeley is a regular size actually. Yeah, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay, let's go to Gma. Unless you guys said something by now. Yeah, he is a Frenchie. Okay.
Nice.
All right, you guys, we're gonna rate out. I just love puzzles. Okay. Have you ever thought about adding music to your art?
Yes,
Really?
actually, I've started doing at the public library. I started doing a workshop,
Uh huh.
and so part of that is adding music in the background, and so I just found like free music, but
Yo, that's so
so
dope.
I have a YouTube video of me making stuff, and then there's music in the background while I was making it.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
my earring workshop, people like people really like the combination of the music and the earrings. But I just use free music, like free lo-fi.
But that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
feel like the two disciplines have been so separate but parallel for so long.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, it's more common for people to put music to their art, but I'm talking about like specifically creating a composition, a musical composition made for a piece.
That would be amazing.
That because then you
Yeah.
can be more deliberate.
Yeah. And what if people like feel differently about it when they hear music while I'm making a certain piece
Yeah.
that's like made for it?
Yeah.
I bet that would like have a different experience for a person buying it.
We did that here. So
Yeah.
Natalie came by. Natalie's the one who did all the gold features here in the mahjong room.
Yeah.
And so I just like had my violin and my effects and stuff, and I just did improv, and she did improv to that music.
That's wonderful.
So they
Yeah.
were like made for each other,
Yeah.
basically.
That's super cool.
Whoop, we rated. Okay, cool. That's it. Our time limit has been up.
Yay.
All right. See you
What's
later,
a
guys.
raid?
A raid.